In this lecture, I'm going to provide you with an introduction to the Python data science environment, and if you recall, we are going to work with the Python distribution Anaconda to carry out our data science tasks. And in the previous lecture, I talked you through how you can install Anaconda on your own system. And if you've done that by now, and if you recall, I recommended that you follow the default steps recommended by the installer. So in my case, I did the same, and my copy of Anaconda, you can see it here, has been downloaded here in my users Minerva folder. And if you're on a Windows system, it's going to be something similar for you, and you have to customize for Mac. But the upshot is that by now, Anaconda should have been installed in your default folder, the users folder, or whatever you have on your own system. Once that is done, we can simply forget about this folder for all intents and purposes, because when we start working with Anaconda, what we do and what you can see over here is that I have navigated to my desktop and a folder on my desktop, and we can navigate to any folder on any of our drives and work over there, and that is exactly what I'm doing here. So as you can see, this is the folder I've navigated to, which is on my desktop, and this is where I'm working from. And it is recommended that you navigate yourself to your working folder as soon as you get started with your data analysis task, the way I have. And once we put in IPython Notebook in the console, like so, IPython Notebook, this is what is brought up for us. And as you can see, this is a Jupyter notebook which has been brought up. It is untitled. It is being auto-saved. I'm programming in Python too. So when we start working with Anaconda, one of the first things that we face is that what is IPython and what is Jupyter and what are they doing for us. So just to talk you through, IPython and Jupyter, for all intents and purposes, for the purpose of this course and for almost all of your Python data science tasks, are the same thing. They are data science notebooks, and essentially they provide us with a web-based interactive computational environment for creating IPython notebooks. And by notebooks or data science notebooks, I mean it is a comprehensive way of storing your code, your plots, your text, your notes in one place. And essentially, as you can see, I've been working in this notebook, and what it does is it provides me with different cells, and when I run my code in these cells, I'm presented with the result over here and so on. And essentially I can add comments, put a hash, add comments, and carry out my data analyses, print out my results, and so on. And this is what IPython or Jupyter notebooks lets us do. That essentially we can store all our analyses in one place and revisit it at a later date. And this is very important and data science notebooks, they come from the family of Mathematica notebooks, and they are very useful for reproducible research. And the central difference between Jupyter and IPython is that Jupyter is language agnostic, whereas IPython, it is the interactive version of Python for data science, and Jupyter is a more generalized version. And I'll just explain what I mean. So once I go here, if you recall, once we put in IPython notebook in the command line, this is where we come to. Essentially we come to within my folder, the working folder, and if we go here to new, I have the option of either working in a Python 2 notebook or in an R notebook, which is a completely different programming language. And that is what Jupyter does for us, that it offers the functionality and the ease of even working with R. We are not going to do this in this course, but for your knowledge, you should know that that is how Jupyter comes up, that essentially you can work in Python 2 or Python 3 if you have installed Python 3 or R, but obviously we are going to work with Python. And as you can see, our notebooks, they are stored as .ipynb files, and I'm going to do that right now. This is my file. I went to home. Home was brought up when I put in IPython Notebook, new Python 2 notebook, and that is how Untitled came up. Now I'm going to save it and I'm going to give it a new name. Nothing imaginative, but it's test 2 now. And let's just see. Now I have test2.ipynb, and this is active and running because test 1 and test 2, they are both active and running. And now I'm just going to talk you a little bit through what IPython and Jupyter do for us. We can see file, edit, view, insert. Well, once we are done with our analyses, we have the option of downloading this as HTML or as a notebook or even as a Python script or even PDF via LaTeX, but we can leave that alone. And HTML is one of the most common ways of downloading our notebooks once we have completed our analyses. And the cell you see over here is where we write our code. And as you can see, we are in the code mode, and print within brackets quotation marks hello, and we put the quotation marks because hello is a string. And if you don't know what strings are, don't worry. In this course, you don't have to know anything about Python. Whatever you need to know about Python, those are the things that we are going to learn as you go along. But just to tell you that how Jupyter notebooks work, so I'm going to say hello cat, and I'm going to run this cell because we have to run the code in each of the cells to get an output like hello. So you can either press Shift Enter to run each line of code, or we can actually press this button here. So this is what we get, hello cat. And we can perform mathematical operations, 64 into 64. Again, I'm going to run it, 4096. This particular symbol, underscore, is going to allude to this cell over here. I'm going to divide it by 64, or say by 63. And this is the result I get. So essentially, I can even refer to the previous cell and carry out a simple mathematical computation. I can assign variables. X and Y are variables which store the values of 8 and 9, which can be changed. Z is equal to X plus Y. I can run this. It will not show any results because I have not printed my results, and we do need to use the print command when we want to print our results, and like so. And as you can see, this is getting updated. And if you want to add a comment the way I did, press Shift Enter, then we put in a hash, and this is a comment. And this is how most data science notebooks function and look like. And we can even remove this particular cell. And now something has changed. I am in something known as Markdown. And as you can see, I have a heading 1, a heading 2, and I've even managed to put in a very simple formula. Now this is the beauty of IPython and Jupyter Notebooks, that it allows us to add Markdown. So, I could even write a simple paragraph of text in my Markdown, but it is based on something called the LaTeX syntax. I'm not going to go into the details of what LaTeX is, but you should know a little bit about Markdown to help improve your own data science workflows. So here goes. When the drop down says Markdown, and you can easily change what the drop down says, then we are in the Markdown mode with one hash followed by a space, and we put in heading 1, then we actually get the heading 1 kind of a format that we find in Word documents as well. With 2 hashes, space, heading 2, we get the heading 2 kind of a format. Same with heading 3. If I want to make a list, cat, dog, then I can put in 1, full stop, space, cat, 2, full stop, space, dog, or even the star symbol, space, list, star, list. For bold, I can put in 2 stars, put in the text that I want in bold, and that is going to be bold. If I want a text in italics like so, I can put in 1 star, no space, text, another star, no space, and that is going to give me italics. I even have the option of putting in LaTeX kind of formulae. So if you can see, this is a formula of C, square root a square plus b square. If you want to put in any formula, we put in $2 C is equal to this particular slash square root a square plus b square and $2 to close. And obviously, if you don't know anything about LaTeX and putting in formula, it's not very relevant, but this is just to show you the power of this Jupyter Notebook and what it can really do for us. And I'm going to run it now. And there, as you can see, I have my list, heading 1, heading 2, formula, italics, and so on. And I can even remove it by, say, cut selected cells. So this has been removed, and I can go back to the old Markdown like so. And this is how we are going to carry on working with our notebooks, that carry on doing the analyses, putting in markdowns, putting in comments, and so on, and ultimately even downloading it. But what happens when I want to close this? Because now I've done my analyses and I need to go to bed. So in case of a Windows system, I'm going to have a control. I'm going to put in Control C, press Control and then C. You have to improvise for Mac. Use the Mac symbol and C. And there, this is done. My connection has been broken. Leave. It is going to be saved. Connection failed means that, okay, now we are ready to go home. We can even shut down, not that it is important, but yes, you can shut down if you like. And that is that. Now I'm going to step back and teach you a little bit about something known as some other terms that you need to know, and this is basically Conda. So, as you know, Anaconda is a Python distribution, one of the most commonly used Python distributions for data science, and it comes with hundreds of pre-installed packages for scientific computations, mathematical analyses, and data science. Conda is Anaconda's package management system. I'm introducing Conda right now because this is something we are going to encounter as we work our way through this course. It manages packages, libraries, and environment. if we want to install a package, something say which was not there with Anaconda, then we type in Conda install package name, and Conda is the primary interface for package installations in Anaconda. And unlike pip, if you haven't heard of pip, nothing to worry about. This is something, it is a package management system used in generic Python IDEs. Unlike pip, Conda is language agnostic, so basically we can install packages of other languages as well using Anaconda, and pip may be used for packages that cannot be installed using Conda straight away. So I'm going to spend some time introducing you to Conda. I'm going to go back to Anaconda prompt. In case you get these kind of warning symbols, you can ignore them, and I'm going to navigate my way to my folder. Remember, we don't have to be in the default Anaconda folder, and we must navigate ourselves to our working folder. And these are some of the basic Conda commands. So if I want to know what are the Conda commands installed with my Anaconda package, then I can actually put in Conda list like so. And these are the different packages installed on my Anaconda, installed with my Anaconda: Skykit, Fuzzy, Rope, Zip, 6, and so on. I can even search, because there are hundreds of packages that come with my copy of Anaconda. I can search if I have, say, a specific package called NumPy installed on my system or not, or say, do I have pandas on my system or not. These are things that we are going to work with further on. So let us see how we are placed. So Conda, search, say pandas. That's a very important Python package for data science. So yes, things like Panda, Panda SQL, the different components of the pandas package indeed has been installed with my copy of Anaconda. If you want to install a package that wasn't there, then we can say Conda install, and again the package name, and you do have to look up the package name. It's going to be different for different packages, and we can even update packages using the command update. But essentially these are three of the most important commands that you need to be familiar with: listing, searching, and installing a package. And we are going to install a few packages as we work our way through this course. So but now you know how you can install packages, and they are going to be installed in the default Anaconda folder and so on. So by now, over the course of this lecture and the previous lecture, you should be able to open up IPython notebooks. You should feel comfortable with their interface, and now you also know a bit about what the Conda package management system is, and you can always read up here that this is the renowned package dependency and environment manager system which is included in Anaconda. And if you are comfortable with the material covered so far, then yes, you're ready to carry on with the rest of the course. All the best.